everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Lilia. In this video we're going to be making some Mexican rice. It's a super highly requested video by a lot of friends of mine. They think it's very difficult to make, and it really is not. This is my Mexican rice version of what has been passed down to me from my grandmother and mother. I hope you enjoy. Please make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like this recipe, and don't forget to subscribe so you're always in the know of any of our tasty videos. And for all of the amounts and ingredients used, please make sure to check down in the description box below. So I'm going to add some olive oil to this to fry up my rice. And I'm bringing my heat to medium-high. And as far as the type of rice you can use really any long grain, jasmine, or even basmati rice. And now we're going to reduce the heat just to medium. And going to go ahead and give this rice some color by frying it up. And this is unwashed rice, by the way. There's no need to wash it, and especially if you're using jasmine, because it has a nice aroma. So you can see my rice is starting to turn a little bit brown and golden. Also, a little tip, I really like to cook my rice in a Dutch oven. If you have one, they work amazing. If you don't, then you could use a non-stick pan. That's the key to not using as much oil. If you don't use a non-stick pan, this will be drenched in a lot of oil. So my rice is finished, and make sure you keep an eye on this because it can easily burn. What I do is just occasionally start stirring this around. All right, so we're going to blend our tomatoes and onions. Added just a tiny bit of water at the end. You can add your garlic and your cumin seeds or cumin powder to this, but I prefer to ground this in a mortar, so I'm going to just blend those separately. So now that this is blended, I'm going to set it aside. Continue to mix these two together. So I've got salt, garlic, and cumin seeds. And this is just a personal preference. You can just add it to your blender. Something I guess my mother has done for so many years. Seeing my grandmother and my mom doing this makes me more comfortable to do it this way. Once I have this turned into a paste, we'll mix both this mixture and the garlic, cumin, salt mixture with our rice. Now that's a nice paste. I'm going to add a little water and get all those pieces out. Make sure I get all of that garlic and cumin and salt. That looks about good. Now let's take it on over to rice. I'm gonna add our tomato mixture to this. Give this a good stir. And bring down your heat so it doesn't start to splatter all over for you. And we're going to add that garlic mixture. I'm going to let the rice soak up all these flavors just for a few minutes before we add you can use chicken broth, any broth of your choice, or water. But I like to kind of let the rice get soaked up with all these flavors. Here I'm adding some homemade beef broth. I'm gonna add some more to this, just give it a good stir. And this beef broth is super easy to make. Actually, this broth was a reserve from my flauta recipe. So the meat that I cooked up with onion and garlic, I went ahead and reserved some of that liquid for this rice. So if you want to check out that recipe, click on this eye icon. on this video, so you can check out that recipe. It's a really simple recipe that is so delicious. It will really impress you how easy it is, yet delicious. And whenever you're adding liquid to your rice, make sure it's at room temperature or warm. Never add cold broth to this because it ends up breaking up the cooking time. You'll have some rice that is kind of hard and then the other one's overcooked. So you always want to use room temperature or hot water or broth. Give this a good stir. If you're using frozen vegetables, you'll want this rice to first cook and then you'll add your frozen vegetables towards the end when it's pretty much finished. If not, if you're using fresh vegetables, you can add them in at this time. What's very popular in the, I guess, Mexican or Hispanic culture, when we make rice, we add carrots, corn, and peas. At this time, since carrots are really hard, you would want to add them in now, only if they're fresh. Now that all of that is in, I'm going to add additional bouillon and give that a good mix. You can use a vegetable bouillon if you don't want to use a meat flavored bouillon. So I'm going to cook my rice on medium to medium low heat for 30 minutes, and at 15 minutes you want to check up on your rice to make sure that none of the rice is sticking down at the bottom, and if so, then add just a little bit more broth or water. Alright, so we're going to check up on our rice, and you don't want to stir your rice. What you do is just kind of push all this tomato puree up towards the center. So I like to do this first and then just slowly kind of check it once from one side, check it from the other, from all sides. I add potatoes and a jalapeno to mine because I like the flavor that it gives off. So this is still doing good. This is when, if you need to add a little bit of water, you can, but don't overflood this with water. I'm going to add just a tiny bit to the center. And let it continue cooking. Now we'll add in our veggies that have been thawed out. Just sprinkle them throughout. You could add as many veggies as you want, and any veggies that you would like as well. To give this just another fluff. You can see that our rice is nice and whole. We'll leave it like that. And I told you guys it was so simple to make. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next recipe.